Welcome to lesson 5.5, Distributive Property. Our bell ringer for today says to solve the word problem. So in August, Corey began school shopping for his triplet daughters. One day he bought 10 pairs of socks for $2.50 each and 3 pairs of shoes for $D each. He spent a total of $135.97. It says to write and solve an equation to find the cost of one pair of socks. All right, so I see this word equation, which means I'm going to have an equal sign. So I'm going to do the equal sign right there. And my total, I know my total that he spent was $135.97. So when he went to the store, he bought socks and he bought shoes. So I'm going to write that he spent his money on socks plus his money on shoes. Okay. So socks, he bought 10 pairs of socks for $2.50 each. So how much money did he spend on socks? Well, he spent 10 times $2.50 on socks. Plus, how much money did he spend on shoes? Well, he got 3 pairs of shoes, and they were D each. So we know that that's going to be 3 times D is how much he spent on his shoes total. So now I need to simplify this. I have 10 times 2.5. Well, that's going to give me $25. So that means he spent $25 on socks for his triplets plus 3 times the amount that each shoe is, gives him a total of $135.97 that he spent on his shoes and socks. So now that I have this equation, I need to drop my line and I need to solve it. So right now, $25 is being added to 3D. So the opposite is to subtract 25 from both sides. And when I do that, my 25's cancel and I'm left with 3D equals, well, $135.97 minus 25 is going to be $110.97. So now it's being multiplied by 3. The opposite of multiplication is division. So in order to isolate D, to get D all by itself, I'm going to divide by 3. So I have 110.97 divided by 3. I get that D equals $36.99. Well, what does that mean? If we go back up, it says that the shoes sold for D. So that means the shoes cost $36.99 each. All right. Okay, let's take a look at our notes and our objective for today. So our objective is that I can solve the distributive property to simplify. I can use the distributive property to simplify expressions. Finally, we get to use it. We've been talking about it for weeks. So the distributive property we know as the rainbow method, right? It's where we multiply the outside number by all of the numbers or terms, right, in the parentheses. Okay, so let's take a look at this first example. So number 1, we have 3 on the outside and we have m plus 5 on the inside. So with our rainbow method, we're going to, I like to think of it as distribute. We're going to take that 3 and we're going to multiply it by both the m and then the 5. So if you want to, with your arrows, you can put a little X above it to know that you have to multiply. So we have 3 times m, which is just 3m. 3 times 5 is a positive 15. Okay, it's that simple. So let's take a look at the next one. Now, when you are distributing, I want to make sure that you pay close attention to the sign in front of each of the numbers, okay? So here, when we distribute the 4 to the 10n and the -3. So if we start off, we have 4 times 10n, so 4 times 10 is 40, and we have the n. Then we have 4 times -3. Well, 4 times 3 is 12, but I have that negative, so it's going to be -12. Okay? Looking at the next one, we have to distribute the -4 So we have negative 4 times x, which is negative 4x. Then we have plus negative 4 times 5. Well, negative 4 times 5, I'm going to have to use dn, so they're different signs, so it's going to be negative. 4 times 5 is 20. So I can rewrite this as negative 4x minus 20, right? Because adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting a positive. So this is our final answer. Looking at the next one, if there's nothing in front of the parentheses except for a negative sign, that means that there's really a negative 1 hidden in there. So that number is really negative 1 times 4b minus 4. So that said, we have to distribute the negative. So let's go ahead and do this. So we're distributing. I have negative 1 times positive 4. Different signs, negative. So it's going to be negative 1 times 4, which is 4. Don't forget your b. Then we have negative 1 times negative 4. Well, negative 1 times negative 4, same sign positive, 1 times 4 is 4, so that's going to be plus 4 when I distribute. Okay? All right, flip the page for me, please. All right, so let's take a look at this next one. Number 5 says, which expression is equivalent to negative 3 times negative 6b plus 5? And then it gives us 4 different choices here. So when I look, I know that equivalent means the same thing as. And expression has no equal sign. And I know this, that none of these have an equal sign, so I'm okay there. But now what I would like to do is I would like to solve this. So to do that, I'm going to actually distribute. So when I distribute, remember I'm doing the rainbow method, I'm multiplying the number on the outside by each number on the inside. So my first one is negative 3 times negative 6. So negative 3 times negative 6. Well, they're the same sign, so it's going to be positive. 3 times 6 is 18. So when I distribute, I have 18. But don't forget that I have a b there, so it's going to be 18b. Then I have next, I have my negative 3 times 5. So negative 3 times 5. Well, those are different signs, so they're going to be negative. Negative 3 times 5, 15. Make sure it has a negative. So it's going to be 18b minus 15. Well, which one of my choices looks like that? It looks like D is the correct answer. But be careful. If you notice, you need to know and remember your rules for multiplying integers, because if you made the mistake that a negative times a negative is a negative instead of a positive, you may have picked answer A. So that's where we need to take an extra step back, okay? All right, let's look at number 6. So number 6, I see a number on the outside with some parentheses and an operation on the inside, so I know I'm going to have to distribute or do that rainbow method, okay? But Miss Wall, the outside number is a fraction. What am I going to do? Well, it's really easy. What we're still doing is we're still multiplying the outside number by the inside number. But instead, remember, when we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across. So we can change these numbers in the inside to be fractions with a denominator or a bottom number of 1. That way, when we multiply, it's going to be really easy. So let's take a look here. When I multiply 2/3 by 9n, I get 2/3 times 9 over 1n. Minus, I have 2/3 times 15 over 1. Right? I just wrote it out step by step to make sure that we understand. So let's do this together. Now let's simplify. 2 times 9 is 18. I'm going to write that a little better, guys. 2 times 9 is 18, and then I have my n. 3 times 1 is 3, so I have 18 over 3 minus 15 times 2 is 30 over 3 times 1, which is 3. But Miss Wall, you can simplify that. Absolutely. Take a look. 18n divided by 3. Well, 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I'm going to have 6n minus 30 divided by 3 is 10. So I have 6n minus 10. All right, that's my final answer. So now let's look at 7. 7 is the same thing. It has a fraction on the outside, and I have to distribute and multiply that by the two numbers on the inside. But my inside numbers aren't fractions, so let me change those to fractions to make my life a little easier, okay? So what we can do here is we're going to have 4/5 times 20 over 1a plus my 4/5. When I distribute to the second one, it's times 35 over 1. Now, when I'm multiplying here, I can always use the bow tie method if I want, instead of having to get down to this point and reduce. So let's look at these two terms here and use the bow tie method. So 5 goes into 24 times, and 5 goes into 5 once, so I can simplify that. I get 4 times 4, which is 16a over 1, because 1 times 1 is 1, so I can leave that as just 16a. Over here, I can think to myself, well, 4 doesn't go into 1, so I can't do anything there, but 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 35 7 times. So now it's plus 4 times 7, which is 28, over 1 times 1, which is 1. So 16a plus 28 is my final answer. All right, let's take a look at 8 now. 8 says, which expression makes the equation true for all values of x? What's going on here? Okay, expression I know has to not have an equal sign, and all of my answers don't have an equal sign, so that's good. But what could I do to figure out which one is in our question mark? Why don't I take all of these and plug them in for my question mark to see if they get the same thing as 16x minus 16? I think I'm going to do that. So let's take a look. Here, I'm going to take 4, and instead of my question mark, I'm going to replace it with my choices. So my first one, I'm going to replace with 4x minus 4. So I have 4. Instead of a question mark, I'm going to do 4x minus 4. That's my part A. For B, I'm going to take 4 and multiply it by 4x minus 16 because I'm taking in my choice and plugging it in for the question mark. C, I'm going to do 4 times 2x minus 2, replacing my question mark with 2x minus 2. And D, I'm going to take 4 and multiply it by 12x minus 12. All right, so now I have to distribute on each of these. So my first one, I'm going to distribute, multiply the outside number by both insides. So 4 times 4 is 16x. Then I have 4 and negative 4. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. Because a negative times a positive, different signs negative. Wow, that looks an awful lot like what we're trying to look for over here. But I need to make sure that I'm 100% positive because I could have made a mistake there. So let's do the next one. The next one, we distribute, we multiply the 4 by the 4 and the 16. I get 4 times 4, which is 16x, minus 4 times 16. Well, is 4 times 16 16? No, that's crazy talk, Miss Wall. It's 64. Well, that certainly doesn't equal that. So let's keep moving. Now we're going to distribute this next one. I'm going to do 4 times 2, which is 8x. 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8. Well, I have 8x minus 8. That doesn't look like it. Let's try this very last one. Distribute 4 times 12 is 48x minus 4 times 12, which is also 48x. So this one's just crazy talk, right? So it looks like our answer of A was absolutely right to begin with. Very impressive, right? All right, now what I would like you to do is take a moment to work on question 9. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and work on, actually, you can work on, work on 9. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, welcome back. In case you needed help with 9, I'm going to show you how to distribute to make sure your answer is the same as mine. So -3 times -2 is a positive 6n. -3 times -7 is a positive 21. So hopefully you put in 6n plus 21. All right, now pause the video, do 10 for me, and enter your answer. Welcome back. Let's take a look to make sure that you got the same thing that I did. So we're going to distribute the -2 to everything. This one's a little different because there's 3 things that we're multiplying the -2 by. So here, the r is all by itself, so that means there's really a 1 in front of it. So I have -2 times 1, which is -2r. Then I have -2 times 3m. Well, negative times a positive, different signs negative. 2 times 3 is 6m. Then I have -2 times -9. Well, that's going to be a positive 2 times 9, which is 18. All right. Okay, I want you to pause the video and do 11 for me. Welcome back. Let's take a look to make sure you're right. When we distribute, we're distributing it to all terms. This is really 8 times -1x. So 8 times -1 is -8x. 8 times 2 is positive 16. 8 times -3 is -24, and I carry the y with it. Okay. Let's take a look at 12 after you pause the video and answer it. All right, welcome back. Remember, if there's just a negative sign here, that means that there's really a -1 in front. So with our -1, we're going to distribute it to both terms. So we have -1 times -5. Same sign, positive. It's going to be 5n. -1 times 2, different signs negative. So it's going to be -2 times 1, which is -2. Okay, please flip the page for me. Let's take a look at this top one. I want you to take a moment to pause the video. Remember to create these as fractions. All right, pause the video and work on 13, please. Welcome back. Let's take a look. When we distribute, we're multiplying the 1/2 by both terms. So this is really 1/2 times 8/1m minus my 1/2 times my 6/1. Now you could multiply straight across, or you could do bow tie. If we do bow tie, we see that 2 goes into 2 once and 2 goes into 8 4 times. So we have 1 times 4, which is 4m over 1 times 1, which is 1. So I have 4m minus 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. 1 times 3 gives me 3. 1 over 1 times 1 gives me 1. So my answer is 4m minus 3. All right, now I want you to do 14. Go ahead and pause the video and do 14 for me, please. Welcome back. Let's take a look. We are distributing here, so we're multiplying the 3/4 by both pieces. So I have 3/4. This is really times -8n over 1. And this is really plus my 3/4 times my 6 over, careful, Miss Wall, what you doing? 6 over 1, right? So here, when I multiply, I can do bow tie. Let's do it. 4 goes into 8 twice. 4 goes into 4 once. So now multiplying straight across, I have 3 times -2. Don't forget that negative. That's different signs, so it's going to be negative together. So 3 times 2 is 6, but it's going to be a -6 over 1 times 1, which is 1. Can't forget my variable n. Plus, well, 4 can't go into 6, but 2 can. So 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 goes into 6 3 times. So over here I have 3 times 3, which is 9, over 2 times 1, which is 2. So you should have had -6n plus 9/2. Okay, looking at 15, it says which expression is equivalent to 2/5 times 4x plus 9? Well, are there any answers that I can eliminate immediately? Let's see here. I don't know. I think I need to distribute to figure this one out. So I'm going to write my expression, and I'm going to distribute with my arrow. So I'm going to multiply 2/5 times 4 over 1x plus my 2/5 times my 9 over 1. Now here, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do bow tie because 5 and 4 don't have any common factors, and neither 2 and 1. So I'm going to have to multiply straight across. So I have 2 times 4, which is 8. And then I have my x over 5 times 1, which is 5, plus 2 times 9 is 18 over 5 times 1, which is 5. Do any of my answers look like this? Well, this one does, but the x is over here on the side instead of on top. That's okay. We're going to work with it. Because 8x over 5 is the same thing as 8/5 x. Okay? Last one, let's take a look at 16. It says, which expression is equivalent to this one right here? Well, I think I'm definitely going to have to distribute. And when I do that, I have to multiply the outside number by both inside numbers. And immediately I know that it's going to be negative 1/2 times my 6 over 1x minus, now here's where it comes in handy. I need to put parentheses to understand that I have negative 1/2 times 5 over 1. Now immediately, right off the bat, I see that over here I have a negative times a positive. Well, those are different signs, which means my answer is going to be negative. So right off the bat, what 2 can I eliminate from here that are not negative in front of my x? D and A, right? So now I have a 50-50 shot. So now it all comes down to being able to simplify this first expression correctly. So I can use bow tie if I want, because 2 goes into 2 once and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So now I have negative 1 times 3. Different signs will be negative 3x over 1 times 1, which is 1. So now it looks like my choice is going to be B, but let's double check. So it's going to be minus. Now when I do what's in the parentheses over here, I can't bow tie, but I can multiply straight across. So it's going to be different signs, negative. It's going to be negative 1 times 5, which is 5, over 2 times 1, which is 2. Now I'm a little nervous. Because I don't think I see my answer anymore. I have negative 3x minus a negative is plus a positive 5/2. So I would think that it would match this one right here. It would match B. But is 3.5 the same thing as 5/2? Let's check. I have 5 over 2, so it's going to be 5 divided by 2. 2 goes into 5 twice. I have 4. I subtract 1, bring down my 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So this should really be 2.5, not 3.5. So guess what? There's no correct answer. Everybody makes mistakes, even Miss Wall. But I had fun doing the problem with you, even though we couldn't find the right answer in the multiple choice. All right, I hope that you had fun. I hope you learned a lot. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Bye.